Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to our YouTube channel. Here we have another phone for repair. It's an iPhone 15 Pro. As you can see, it's a damaged LCD. We're gonna go start by opening up the pentalobe screws on the bottom of the phone. Be very careful. You might get unthreaded if it's stuck. We take out both screws. We put our screwdriver on the side. The next step is heating up the phone. There are very strong adhesives around the LCD. We want to loosen it up to make it much easier to lift up. On this phone the LCD is damaged, but if the LCD wasn't damaged we would have had to take longer time. I'll use my prying tool. I go from the right. From this angle is the right side, but it's actually the left side of the phone, the bottom, and I start opening up the LCD. Make sure your prying tool is under the plastic, not on top of it, because you could be damaging the LCD furthermore instead of opening the phone. As we worked our way at the bottom, we lift it up and we pry it on the left to right, and then we pry open the whole LCD. Be careful with the screws. I always put them in order so I know exactly where each screw came from. As you can see, the screws are very tiny. It's wise to have magnet on your screwdriver and magnetic mat. That's a technique we've been using for years. We put magnet on our screwdriver, it makes our work much easier. Be careful about the ribbon cable for Face ID. I use my prying tool. Lift up the plate carefully. You don't want to damage any cable. The next step is removing the battery. That's the first thing you gotta always do. You can use your nail or plastic. I use my nail because it's faster. I use my precision prying tool to disconnect the connectors. One connector for LCD and one connector for the Face ID. Put the phone aside. I use my Phillips screwdriver to open the two Phillips screws that protects the Face ID. Again, I put screws in order. On this step, you need to use a lot of heat, but be careful to not damage the Face ID. Slowly pry up the Face ID sensor. Take your time. Now under this cable is all glue, so you gotta be really careful and you gotta have really thin opening tool like the one I have here. Be careful, on the right corner there is a IC, you don't want to damage that. I'm gonna use heat again. And I'm just going to use my finger to lift it up. Now it's time to install the Face ID on the new screen, and then the Face ID will be installed on the new screen. I start by aligning the sensor first because you have a lot of glue on the other side, on the right side of the sensor, and you want to make sure you're putting it at the right place. Install the protector plate again. I align it, and then I will use my Phillips screwdriver again. I align the screw, make sure everything is tight. And that's it. Now we want to install the new screen on the phone. I connect the Face ID. I connect the LCD. And finally the battery. Then I carefully put the protective plates on the phone. Make sure it's aligned. And then I use every screw that goes in a specific hole. Take your time on this step. You don't want to use the wrong screw because there's a chance of drilling into the motherboard. I need to make sure I'm holding the screen firmly and gently as I'm doing this. I use my other finger to align the screw onto my screwdriver. And some screws attached to the magnetic screwdriver aligned already. Now I carefully put the screen back on the phone, make sure everything works. We can test the screen functionality using the emergency button. Then we go and click on each button. Once we confirm everything works, then we clean the frame. You want to make sure it's free from residues, hair, or dust. Be very careful here. Every small part of this phone has sensitive components, so you want to really make sure you are looking at the right component as you're working on it, while being mindful of the whole system. I clean the frame with my tool. That's one of my most useful tools that I use. Then I use my turbo fan to blow air, make sure there's no residue. Then I carefully fit the LCD onto the frame. I check all corners. And that's it. Now we put the pentaloop screwdriver back onto the phone. You don't want to make it too tight or too loose. This is just to hold the screen furthermore, but the screen is in a tight fit. Then I clean the charger port if there is any dust. I'm gonna make sure the speaker and the microphone is clean. Then I install the screen protector. I hold it on top of the screen to prevent any dust falling onto the screen as I remove the plastic. Then I quickly align it, and as you can see, I just run my finger on the center once, and then I get rid of the big bubbles. I spray some alcohol to clean the screen because my fingerprint's on it now. I clean the phone, make sure our client enjoys a fresh look on their phone. And that's it. iPhone 15 Pro screen replacement, all done. See you later.